Again with Superintendent Price of the Price Temple Church here in Greenville, Texas. And Superintendent Price, I'm telling you, I'm excited. I want you to talk about the music and how it has affected your life. My first question is, how did you first organize your gospel choir, the first choir?
Well, the first choir I organized was really the one that was down at Rose Sharon Church of God in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And we started out with maybe 5 or 6, and we were just like a group.
Uh-huh.
And people heard about it, the young folk heard about it, because it was a young folks choir.
Mm-hmm.
They heard about it, and they wanted to be a part of it.
Uh-huh.
And they come and ask, can I join your choir, Reverend Bryce? Can I join your choir? Can I join your choir? And of course, I said yes. You know, they weren't members of the church,
Uh-huh.
but I gave them an opportunity to sing.
Mm-hmm.
And they did, and the more we sang and the more other young folk heard about us, the more root we got. And we got the choir up to about maybe 150.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah.
Just community children.
Just the community children.
Wow, off the
They
streets.
would come off the street, come from other churches. They just to be a part of the choir.
Uh-huh.
And so that's how we really got started.
Oh, okay. Okay then. And I know some are sopranos and some are alto. How were you able to blend all those voices together?
Well, first of all, we listened to them, listen to them sing, and most of them could sing. You know, the women, the girls, they would sing. Some would sing high, some would sing low, and then of course we had the tenor section, and so that's how we got them together. We did it by just listening to them and finding out what range they were able to sing, and we had that alto, sopranos, and tenors.
Okay. It was always a joke if an individual couldn't sing really good, they would put her next to someone
that could sing.
Yeah.
Try to keep on tune, and most of the time that worked. And many times it didn't, and I just said, just work your mouth.
Just work your mouth. That's pretty good. Okay. And then you went on. There was a choir in college as well.
Right. When I got a chance to go to Jarvis Christian College, which was the through the help of Claudine Brown.
I know.
Claudine Brown is the person that made it possible for me to go to college, because I wasn't really didn't have it wasn't gonna go because I didn't have no funds, didn't have no transportation there. And Claudine said, "Yeah, you going to college? You gonna go? I'm gonna make sure you go." And she carried me to Jarvis College and enrolled me in that college.
How wonderful!
And there we organized. Well, after a period of time being there, we organized. Of course, I don't know. Everywhere I went, I have to organize something about gospel. You know? And they heard me playing. I'd go into the music room after school, after classes, and everybody was gone home, and I'd play and sing. And people would watch and they say, "Why don't you start a choir?" So we did. We wrote up a little announcement and asked if anybody was, interested to come at a certain time, and we organized, and we did real good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you guys sing with other colleges, or what did you just sing around for the?
No, they had what they called a college choir.
Oh, okay.
And the college choir only sang a cappella, and they sing other songs that were not gospel songs. So we organized what we call a gospel choir.
Okay.
Yeah, we organized the gospel choir, and we went around. We were singing in the community, and then we branched out and went to Gladewater, and then we started singing Hawkins, and then churches would invite us in those cities,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what we did. We had organized a gospel choir
Oh, okay.
instead of the regular school choir.
Oh, okay. That is wonderful. I know here in Greenville, they have musical choirs here in Greenville, and I can recall when they had the second Sunday city-wide musicals. And so, can you tell me a little about that? How that worked?
Yes, that was called the they called it the Second Sunday Festival, Singing Festival, and it was organized really by Reverend Harris.
Uh huh.
And after he passed on, then who took it over? I'm trying to see who took it over. But anyway, it ended up with a guy from Goodwill Baptist Church.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even think of his name right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he took it over, and we started out with well, I think it was 12 churches, and every second Sunday we would come together and we would sing, and then the next second Sunday we'd go to somebody else's church and.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's here.
Just turn it. You have to turn it on. Hey, tell her.
She's okay. She's
I
okay.
was going to say she has to turn it on and she'll
Excuse
move
me
it.
for being late.
Oh,
Can I
you're-
get over
right
on
over
that
there,
side?
yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Elder Price, you okay? Hello,
I'm
Betty.
doing
And that's
great.
John. You next. These are some suggested questions we going by.
You're Betty Brown?
Yeah, I'm Betty Brown.
That's Miss Molly Daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Betty Brown.
I'm just making sure we have it recorded on the video so we know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sometimes Reverend Price go just tell the stories, but we play it by ear.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
and we organized that. I mean, we would still do that singing festival up until COVID time. And when COVID got here, we stopped doing everything really. And then when the COVID was over, well, it's not over. When they felt that we could go back together, then the singing festival just cut off. And we had reorganized it, and so as of now, it's ineffective.
Oh, okay.
But while it was going, it was real good, and we all went to different churches, like I say, because it was something to do on Sunday afternoons. And the second Sunday was everybody couldn't wait to get to the singing festival.
I remember.
Yeah, couldn't wait to get to the singing festival.
I want to also. You said it was 12 churches in the beginning, and we touched on that as well. But I want to go back to the solo singles. You know, you have people who want to sing at each opportunity that they get. Now, how were you able to balance? Like, we're gonna take turns singing, because a lot of people were lead singers and they wanted to be heard. How were you able to balance that?
What you mean in a choir?
Yeah, in the choir you worked in.
Oh well, we always, whenever we always just say, okay, we're gonna sing this song, or this song. You know, we can't. In a church service, we only did maybe 3 or 4 songs before the preacher preaches. But when we go out to sing, that would give everybody an opportunity, and we would let whoever wanted to sing, whoever wanted to lead the song, do it. And many times, some you say, okay, we're gonna sing your song tonight. Oh no, we're gonna sing mine tonight, because we go to some churches and sometimes they feel inferior and don't want to do it. You know, I said, yes, we're gonna sing your song, and well, okay, we'll sing it. And then he would get up there and really set the church on fire.
That's good.
And those were things that we really enjoyed doing,
Mm-hmm.
and that was having a good time at the choir.
Mhm.
Not only at the at the choir places where we would sing,
Uh-huh.
but even at our choir rehearsals,
Mm-hmm.
we would rehearse maybe once a week, and we love to rehearse because we when we get in there, the spirit would be just as high
Uh-huh.
as it would be if we were not in a
Uh-huh.
church setting,
Uh-huh.
but just in a practice.
Wonderful. And so I mean, you have a lot of unity there.
Yes.
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 Okay. Okay then. Also, you had other musicians. How would the blending of the other musicians, like the guitar player, the drummer, and the other cymbals, how were you able to blend that in?
Well, we had we had several musicians.
Uh-huh.
We had Betty Brigham,
Uh-huh.
Don Ward,
Mm-hmm.
myself,
Mm-hmm.
and what we do, a specific song
Mm-hmm.
would be played by a specific person,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and that's with the piano and the organ.
Uh-huh.
But whoever played the guitar, they never get to switch up. They just had to play the whole thing.
Okay.
Because we didn't have, but Don Ward, he played organ, piano, and he played guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got a chance to, continuously play.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that were not playing, they were up there singing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Mention, you told me you traveled through East Texas and different places. How were you treated at different places? Because I always wondered what was it like traveling through East Texas and the South.
We were treated fine.
Okay.
They accepted us. I mean, they fixed dinner for us.
Uh-huh.
We eat, and then after the service, we eat before and sometimes after the service.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, most of the time, when our choir would go, they would take up a donation, an offering for the choir, and it would help us, with our gas and stuff like that. But most of our outings were funded by our choir.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We would. Everybody would pay our own way. Or
Okay.
we'd ask that, okay, everybody give us $5 and we're gonna get some gas. Gas back there wasn't
Yeah.
was good.
Okay. What about the uniforms?
Uniforms, okay. We had uniforms that we all had to wear. We call them robes, and everybody had to buy your own robe. And then if those who were in the choir and they felt that they couldn't afford a robe, then others would pitch in and get them a robe. They ran about $15
Okay.
a piece, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And we would do
How
that
supportive,
way.
yeah. Very supportive. Okay. Was there any song that you can say that was the most requested song? And how did you work the audience? So the most requested song, and how did you work that audience?
Okay. The most requested song we had was me leading One of Them Today.
Oh, okay. I'm one of them.
One of Them Today. Everybody loved it. If we didn't have that on our agenda, they would call out, "One of them today, one of them today." But after we got started, we always get to get the church, the audience hypered, and we tell them to clap your hands. Everybody stand to your feet, and tell the Lord thank you. Now that way we get the audience all hyped up, and then we go ahead and do our singing.
Oh, okay, wonderful one. Now, I heard people say sometimes we miss a note and we have to start over again, either play it or just keep going. How that work? When you miss a note, you mess up. Do you keep on going? What do you do?
Keep on going.
And does that happen often?
No,
Oh, okay.
that didn't happen often.
Okay.
But if it did happen, like I said, you just keep on going. You don't stop. You don't start over until say, whoa, wait a minute, y'all, we got to do that up. No, we don't do that. We just go. Keep going to go to the next session, section of the song, and just continue on.
Oh, okay. Then. Okay. What were some of the gospel singers that influenced you? Who were some of them?
Well, the most I was influenced by the Reverend James Cleveland. James Cleveland was a great gospel singer, and before I really was out there, I wanted to meet James Cleveland, and I went to California with my sister, and that I was last section I was telling you that she was gonna pay my way through the mortuary school, and it didn't happen because I went, she enrolled me, and I went one semester, and I had to drop out because it was too much of a strain on her. But while I was there, I got a chance to meet James Cleveland. That's where he lived in Los Angeles. And I got a chance to go to several of his programs. And he made the announcement at one program one night, in 2 weeks, we're going to Dallas, Texas. And I said, Dallas? I said, boy, that's wonderful. Then I walked up, I said, I didn't have the nerve before, but I had got a little gumption, and I walked up to him and introduced myself to him. And I was just talking to him. He said, well, do you want to join the choir? And he let me join his choir, the Southwest Southern Community Choir of Los Angeles, California. And I sang with James Cleveland. I visited with him just those 2 weeks and started singing with him, and then I got an opportunity to come to Dallas with him. We all came to Dallas, and I called my mother. My mother was living then. I called her. I said, we're gonna be in Dallas at such a place, and I said, you get one of the kids to bring you over there or somebody. And she did. And she came over, and I introduced him to James Cleveland. And I was really, just knocked out, just because I knew James Cleveland, and we stayed there that night, and then we came back to Los Angeles, and we stayed I sang in the choir with them until I had to come back to Texas, but that was the most. I think that was the most exhilarating, most important musical thing that happened in my life when I got a chance to meet James Cleveland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you say that, I think about Aretha Franklin. But any other people in the choir that you that were famous in that choir?
Yeah. Well, Shirley Caesar had a group. And there was a preacher by the name of Reverend Eddie Scott that lived in Rockwall. And Eddie Scott would always get Shirley Caesar to come to Dallas, or get him to come to areas over there, in the Dallas area. And I asked him, I said, man, why don't you try to get him to Greenville? He said, well, it's going to cost this. I said, that's not the point. I said, can you get him here? Get her here. Oh, yeah, I can get her here. I said, okay. So he found out how much it would be for her to come to Greenville. I said, you wait until she's in Dallas. And when she comes to Dallas, then just ask her, would she come on to Greenville for one night? And he used to do that out for me all the time. And Shirley Caesar was another great woman right behind James. that I really admired and got a chance to meet. And and then of course, you know, there were some groups that were in Terrell that I knew all of them, and some more famous groups like let's see, that was Shirley Caesar, James Cleveland, who was some more of them? Well, a few more, but anyway, those were the main ones right there, James Cleveland and Shirley Caesar. And she would come here, and we'd have our services at Carver High School, and we rent the school out, went the gym out, and we'd have she'd come in a big bus, and we'd have a good time.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Like a revival.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, I know there's been so many that came under you, and some of them that you feel like, you know, I'm really proud. Some of the individuals that came under you. I know Ronald Davis.
Yeah.
I remember him. And I remember a couple others. Oh, Fred Thomas.
Fred Thomas.
Tell me about them, the ones that came under you.
Okay. But Fred Thomas, when his dad died, his dad called me into his hospital room and said, I want you to take care of my boy. Said, you know, he was the only child, and of course his mom was dead, and has that sister. But he said, I want you to please take care of my boy. And I said, okay, you know. And so then he died. And when he died, Fred moved in with me, and he became, you know, was in that church, and Fred could play the guitar too. Play the guitar and play the organ and piano. And so he was a lot of help to me, and I tried to be a lot of help to him. And then he started preaching. And when Fred started preaching, he would go and run revivals in other places and stuff. And so when I had two churches, I had one in Wolf City called New Beginning Fellowship Church of God in Christ, and then the one in Greenville. And so, of course, you know, my members here in Greenville were getting a little, you know, because see, I would have service here. I mean, I would go there first. That's what I did. I would go to Wolf City first, and I'd get back to Greenville maybe about 12:30, 1 o'clock. Well, they wanted to be out by that time, you know.
Yeah.
So they said, now, Pastor, you're going to have to make up your mind what church, they gave me the ultimatum. And I said, well, what am I going to do? And I asked Fred, did he want that church? He said, yeah. And so I gave that church to Fred. And I think he kept it about 3 or 4 months. He got married. And he married a girl from,
Bonham. Was it Bonham?
Bonham. That's right. He married a girl from Bonham. And then after he married that girl from Bonham, then what that church was paying wasn't enough for her. And so she talked Fred into letting the church go. And he did. So then finally the church just closed up. And another preacher got it now. Went up and opened it up, Reverend Gadlin. And so they are there now. But Fred, you know, I took care of Fred. Fred played much at my church and did a lot of things like that. And Reverend Davis, he always used my church to have stuff. And I told him, I said, Reverend Davis, go right ahead. Help yourself. Just act like you the pastor. And that's what he did. He'd always, almost every Friday, every Saturday, he was having a musical. And he would bring in groups from places I ain't never heard of. And to pack out the church every time he has something. I think that every time they say, that's his niece right there. Right there, Sandra.
Oh, I know Sandra, yeah.
Yeah, that's standing right there. I said, Reverend Davis said, he every time, I think that all you had to do was say Reverend Davis. They call him Ram. Just say Ram's having a program. And boy, and they would pack out the place. And so he did that. He did real good until the Lord called him home. And but we've had some good times. And now when Carolyn Traylor first started singing and she organized her group, Fred played drums for that group, and then he played guitar. Then my son, Christopher Price, played drums, and they would. I think my church was the only church that they used to practice in, and they practiced until she got famous. And when she got famous, then I think that she went solo, and now things are different. But those are just a few of the the people that were in my life during that time.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting because I know with the choirs, I still remember the children talking about it. They love the choir. And the idea, they want to be a part of the choir so that they would fund their own robe and pay their own way.
That's right. That's the way it was. That's exactly the way it was. And the Lord would bless us every time because we wouldn't have no problem with transportation. Most of the time, I would rent a bus. And of course, that would come out of my pocket, but I'd rent a bus, and we'd go. And some of them already had cars, so we would go in cars, and we'd go in buses, and we did well, real well.
Okay, I know we discussed this a few minutes ago, but I just love the conversation about the singers that can start out and you don't know which note they're in, and they tell you, catch up with me. Tell me about how that works.
Well, they walk up, and say, now look, I sang in Z or something, on the piano, any music instrument, there's only A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And then of course they have a flat with each one of those A flat, B flat, and so forth and so on. But they use the word. They say, I don't know what key I sang in. Maybe it's Z, and no, Z is not even on the piano, But anyway, they say, just catch me, just catch me. All I have to do is just catch me. So, and so they'll start off, then we'll do on the piano until we find the key they're in. Then we go ahead and play the song.
Oh, okay. I think that is so remarkable how you do that. Wow. I see there's a lot of excitement here, but what are some of your disappointments?
Well, it's been a whole lot of disappointments in my life, I tell you. I had one of the disappointments was the preacher at Rosa Sharon, pastor. That was one reason I left, because he disapproved of the way. I guess I say he disapproved of the fact that I associated with other churches other than Church of God in Christ. See, when back in the day when they were brought up, Church of God in Christ was the only church. So they thought, and that's the way they were taught, and so that's the way he tried to teach me. But I told him, no, that ain't what the Lord said do. I said, I'm going to associate with the Baptist folk. I'm going to associate with the Methodist folk, AME folk, and any other kind of folk that's spiritual.
Right.
That want me to invite me.
Uh-huh.
And one night I had that 150 voice choir.
Yes.
We were invited to Dallas, and he heard about it. He lived in Dallas, and he called back to Greenville and told the church members that had youth in that choir, don't let them go. Of course, that was very disappointing to me. But it wasn't but about 5, maybe 10 or 15 that belonged to that church. The rest of them would come from other churches, like I was telling you. And so a few of the parents came and said that, well, Reverend Price, we can't disobey our pastor, so we ain't gonna let so and so go. So and so they have to stay. And I was very disappointed because a lot of them were my leaders. Some of them were my best background, And so anyway, I had rented a bus and everything, and the rest of them said, we're still going. Because, they belong to different churches. Said, we're still going. And I said, okay, well, let's go. And we went and had a blessed time. The Lord just made things great for us. And so we went and came back, and he was really upset with me for that. You disobeyed. And I said, no. So I didn't disobey you. I said, but I had already my word was out, and we were going to do it. So he had made me associate minister, not an associate. He had made me assistant pastor. He took that away from me. And that didn't stop me. I still went to that church. And he did a whole lot of other things because he was upset with me because I had that choir. You took my choir. I said, Reverend, that's not your choir. You took my choir and without my permission. I said, that's not your choir. I said, that's a church choir. And it's really... many of the members that are there are not in the choir are not members of the church. And so anyway, he kept on and on and on, and I heard the Lord tell me, say it's time to go. And so I went, and that's when I organized. And he has blessed us in our organization for several years, 50 years.
Wonderful.
Because I will be going in. They're gonna have my 50th year anniversary on the 5th of November, and they're having a banquet on the 4th. And so, but we're going on with the Lord.
Yes, that's beautiful, beautiful. I want to. Is there anything else you want to add on ministry? I mean, on music before we go to ministry.
No, that's about it.
Okay.
Can I ask a question on music?
Yeah.
So earlier you had said that the most requested, you had said what the most requested song was. Did you have a song that you liked the best?
Yes, I love that song too.
I'm one of them today.
I'm one of them today.
Okay.
I loved it.
Okay.
Okay.
That was the.
Okay. Next, we're going to go into the ministry. You had mentioned that you were ordained minister, and and right now you're superintendent. And will you explore the steps from the ordained minister to the superintendent?
Yeah. Well, see, when you first in the Church of God in Christ, when you first say that the Lord has called you to preach, the preacher will tell you, okay, are you sure that the Lord called you? Because a lot of preachers now are just saying they see a preacher in a Cadillac with a briefcase, with a new suit, a new pair of shoes. That I want to be a preacher, but that's not what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about doing the will of God, and we'll ask them 2 or 3 times, "Are you sure?" So I got a young man now in my church that told me the other day, said, "Pastor, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready." I said, "Well, you got to be sure." "Well, I'm sure." I said, "Okay, well, if they do say they sure, and for 2 years, they have to prove themselves." And when I say prove themselves, they have to first of all, know the Bible. They have to study the Bible. They have to come to Sunday school and morning worship, and they have to be at Bible study and prayer meeting. You know, those the things that the church does.
Right.
They have to be a part of. And they do that for 2 years. And after that second year comes, then you can preach your first sermon if you're ready.
Okay.
And so they preach their first sermon. And then after they preach that first sermon, then we can call them minister.
Okay.
And minister so-and-so, minister whatever. And then if you don't have a church, you still minister. And when you get a church, and most of the time, if you're a young minister, the connection, or what I would say, the connection, our bishop will appoint you to a church.
Okay.
And when he appoints you to that church, then you become pastor.
Only after the bishop.
Only after the bishop appoints you to a church. Unless you go and organize.
Okay.
Now, if you organize,
Okay.
you can be still pastor, but you're not ordained.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when the bishop gives you to the church, or sends you to this church, first thing he's gonna do is have an ordination service.
Oh, okay.
And that ordination service will cause you to become ordained. You'll be ordained then. And then if you are ordained, you are officially a pastor.
Okay.
You what you call a pre-pastor, I'll say, until you become ordained.
Okay.
Because you can't do until you become ordained, you can't do any of the things that a pastor does.
Okay.
You cannot marry nobody.
Okay.
You can't baptize nobody.
Okay.
All of that comes in after you become pastor.
Okay.
Then you can do all that stuff.
Okay.
Okay, and then we have in our church what we call superintendents. And the superintendents are appointed by the bishop. And once you become a superintendent, then when you become a superintendent, rather, they have right now you have many of them can organize their districts. They become over districts, and
Okay.
many of them organize their district. And see, as long as you have 1, 2, 3 churches in your district, you can give it a name and have your district.
Okay.
Yeah, but now because see the state is interested in whether or not you can make the report. Yeah.
Okay.
And the reports are you have different auxiliaries, and each auxiliary plus the bishop has to make a report to the state.
Oh, okay.
And so that's what once you become a superintendent. Now I had 12 churches
Mm-hmm.
under me.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I didn't organize. I the bishop. This is how I got mine.
Uh-huh.
The bishop knew me.
Mm-hmm.
We were good friends, and he, the way he became bishop, our bishop died.
Okay.
Frank Smith
Uh-huh.
passed away,
Uh-huh.
and they had a he ran for that office,
Mm-hmm.
and we do it just like they, we vote and
Uh-huh.
everything, just like we do it in the regular
Mm-hmm.
offices. So they voted him in
Mm-hmm.
as bishop,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the superintendent of that district.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "I'm giving this district up, but I'm giving it because the bishop can't hold a district. He can't be over district.
Okay.
So he said, I'm giving my district to Pastor Price."
Hmm.
And that was lights blue, that made me feel good.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, because nobody knew where it was going.
Uh-huh.
Who did? There was several people wanted that district,
Uh-huh.
but he chose me,
Uh-huh. Wonderful.
and so I got to be the district
Uh-huh.
of that. I'm in the superintendent of that district
Uh-huh. Wonderful.
for this many years until
Wow.
I really got sick, and
Uh-huh.
I just felt that I thought I was gonna leave here,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't. I gave it up,
Uh-huh.
and when I gave it up, it was the largest district that they had
Mm.
in our state,
Mm.
and so when I did that, he split the district, and half of it went up this way, and the other half went that
Okay.
East Texas way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so anyway, I stayed out for a while,
Uh-huh.
and then when I started feeling better, I started saying, "Hey, God's gonna leave me here, I think."
All right. All right. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'm telling you, it's so interesting because the Church of God in Christ operates a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, there's an elder. Tell me about the elder, the position of the elder. Explain that position.
The elder and the pastor is the same thing.
Oh.
They just have different names. You didn't know that? Yeah.
Because a lot of people say they're called elders,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know that's the same as the
Yeah,
pastor.
that's the same as the pastor. They used to say Elder Price. They used to call me Elder Price. Elder Price, Elder Price.
It's just like saying Pastor Price.
That's how
Okay.
So,
still
so
say
at what point do you get the term reverend?
Reverend.
same thing.
All three.
All
So
three of them.
elder,
Elder, Reverend, and
pastor,
pastor. Yeah,
and the Church of God.
in the church. Yes, in our church.
Oh, okay. See, now let's know that.
Those three names are the ones that that everybody calls.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. I want to go back to you. Do you remember your first sermon?
Mm. Yeah, my first sermon was at Rosa Sharon.
Okay.
I know that. Rosa Sharon, and I'm trying to think of what it was.
Okay, a lot of them.
Yeah, they didn't remember that. My
Okay.
mind is
That's okay.
back on.
That's okay. But a lot of times they mention that the first sermon.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's okay. In the church, I know you grew up from Methodist with your mom
Uh-huh.
to Church of God in Christ.
Yeah.
What were some of your role models in the church? Who were some of your role models?
Zoe Lee Allen.
Uh-huh.
She was also one of my great role models in piano playing, because
Okay.
Zoe Lee played that piano.
Uh-huh. Still do.
Okay, Zoe Lee, and then of course Sis Tidwell and Della Bower.
Still,
That's the elder sister. And you know, every time those three women, I look at. Well, no, there's one more. Sister Finney.
Finney.
Yeah, Sister Finney.
Okay.
And those women, I would, you know, see them, and I say, well, boy, I want to be a part of that. And so those were very influential in me being a Church of God in Christ.
Yeah. I know COVID has made a lot of changes with the technology. How do you see the future of the church?
Well, I think, to me, I feel that the devil, and a lot of folk wouldn't, but I feel, you know, that the devil, after he invented COVID, he fixed it so we could. A lot of folk think the Lord did this, but I believe it's the works of the devil. He fixed it so we could look at church virtually. Stay at home, look at church. Stay at home and look at. I got my cell phone on my mom. I'm looking at church. I'm in church, and I believe that the devil is the reason we got COVID because he wanted us to get out of church. He closed down the churches, and really it happened. Churches closed down. You know, you see stores and things closed down. Churches closed. All kinds of things closed up. Now we some of the churches of God in Christ didn't. They had their services outside. I know I did. Didn't about a third of them come. But I set out my electric piano and then put out my microphones, and I had church outdoors. And I did that for a while. And then when they said it's all right to go back in, then we went back in. And when we went back in, we lost, gagos of members, I say it like that. Plenty of members never came back. And that's why I believe that this was one of the tactics of the devil to try and ruin the church. And people say, look, yeah, we out of church, and God made a way for us to still go to church by getting us videos. I said, nah, I ain't it. God ain't done that. I said, God didn't do it. Why you say that? I said, because if he had done that, he wouldn't have written in his book that forget not to assemble yourselves together in the house of God as such do. He said, in the house. And why would he write in his Bible to tell us don't forget to go to church and then fix it where we can't go to church? He wouldn't. He would not do it. And that's why I don't believe that it was God's wish for virtuous stuff to come about. I just don't believe it. But it might be others might show us the reasons why it is, but I don't. I don't. And right now we've lost so many members. The Bible said also this. There's going to be a great falling away. And we've lost so many members now that the church is just bare. It's bare. You come to my church on Sunday, you was there on Sunday morning, see 15, 10, that's all. Why? Because the church is messed up. And you see how you see the future of it. It's going to continue unless God does something. It's going to continue to be that way. Because what did he say also? Hell has enlarged itself.
Mhm.
Why would he enlarge hell if he wasn't expecting more people to go there?
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Mhm.
And so we've got to wake up and realize that it's, and it won't be long, because another scripture that says, when you see the great falling away, and when you see the folk that are doing what they're doing, all this shooting and going on, they ain't even can't stop that. They've done everything they can. Now, if they would go to house and take and search it and get every gun they could find in the city, they still ain't gonna get them all.
Right.
Look at fires burning everywhere. I mean, all overseas, in Hawaii, and they smelling the smoke in Dallas, in California. All of these things are happening. Forest fires and floods. Ooh, look at all this stuff that's happening. The Bible said these things were going to be. And when it said these things were going to be, next what? It's going to be the end.
Yeah.
The end is coming. And folks don't believe it.
Mhm.
Oh, yes, they do. They believe. If they did, they'd change. Oh, I don't go.
I mean, okay. Okay. A couple other questions before we wrap it up.
Okay.
What are some of your favorite scriptures?
Favorite scriptures. The most favorite scripture I love is "The Lord is my shepherd." 23rd Psalm. That's what it is. Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And I told him, I said, when I die, I know you see it on every funeral program, but you make sure that it's on mine. Yeah.
Okay.
The Lord is my shepherd.
All right. All
May
right.
I ask a question?
Oh, yes.
You had said you thought the Lord was going to take you out. Have you already prepared your obituary?
Yeah, I got it all wrote out. I got what I want done to my church. I want, in our church, Church of God in Christ, the bishop usually appoints who you want to go to your church. But here lately, they had all pastors to sign a
Contract, right?
contract that all, if anything happened to you, your church would go to the state, which means that the state has control over your church, and then they can appoint whoever they want there. But I didn't sign it. I didn't sign one or what. I built my church from the ground. I said, and nobody's gonna control it but me. And so I got it written out that if anything happens to me, the members of the church, whoever is there, have the I'm giving them permission, the authority to pick whoever they want to pick as pastor. And if they don't want to pick nobody, they have the authority to sell the building, sell the church, and distribute the money to wherever they wanted to go. And so that's what we did. That's what I did, because I felt that I'm not gonna have. I see a lot of churches, pastors die, and the folk come in and try to run everything, try to take this and take that and do this and do that, but they're gonna have a hard time when I go.
I heard you say you built that church, and
Yes,
you told us that
yes.
story.
Yeah, I
Yes.
built it from the ground.
Yes, I remember. I
Mhm.
remember when you built that first church. I was so in awe.
Yeah.
You built that church.
Mhm.
I was amazed.
Betty, you have any other questions?
And I just want
Okay.
Elder Price, Superintendent Price, to know that I have learned so much today. And you probably already know this, that I've always admired you.
Thank you.
Always, from
Thank
a
you.
youngster all the way up. You've been nothing but kind to me, and you were kind to my husband
Yes,
also
yes.
before he died. And I just thank God for you, and for you to let Reverend Davis, who was my husband's uncle,
Mm-hmm.
to let them use that church every week.
Every week he was
It
there.
was just, and like you said, it was packed.
Yeah.
It was packed. I just commend you. I really do.
As we wrap up,
I got a couple of questions.
okay.
So you talked about going to Jarvis.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anybody else that was there at the time you were there that came to Greenville?
Yes, Reverend Fudge. I said Reverend Fudge. Reverend. That's the name of the after Mr. Harris died that took over the swinging festival.
Budget.
Yeah, George Fudge's daddy. His name. He was a preacher. His name was Reverend Fudge.
Okay.
And okay, now what that question?
Was there anybody that was with
Oh
you?
yeah, that comes from Greenville. Charles Faulkner, Reverend Faulkner,
But you know him.
I do.
and let's see who else was at Jarvis from here. Well, out to Claudine Brown.
Brown,
Were they in the music world as well?
No, they weren't in.
No. Okay.
I don't think Faulkner could carry a tune in the bucket.
William Smith wasn't from there, was he? Didn't go
Yeah, he
to-
was.
William Smith.
William
Was it?
Smith.
Okay.
Sure was.
Okay.
Was Yvette
He
Hutchins
and
there
his
at the
what?
same time?
Huh?
Was Yvette Hutchins there at the same time?
Yvette Hutchins. Was she there at the same time?
Not while I was there. They were
Okay.
gone when I got
Okay.
there.
Okay.
But she did go.
Okay.
Yvette Hutchins and William Smith.
William Smith.
Okay.
I said I didn't know he went there. William Smith went.
Yep.
So another question I had. You mentioned Carver High School.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any stories about Carver High School?
Not really, because I didn't go to school there.
Okay.
I went to school at St. Paul,
Okay.
and that's where I graduated. The reason I went there, we were in Lone Oak. We lived in Lone Oak.
And St. Paul was in Lone Oak?
No, St. Paul is in Eatonville.
Neelanville. Okay.
But we lived in Lone Oak, and see, there wasn't any integration at that time, and they didn't have a high school in Lone Oak, Point, nor Emory, Quinlan, Allwood City for blacks. They had the high schools there, but no blacks couldn't go to them, and so they would bus. Every morning. The guy that would drove the bus lived in those cities, and they would keep the bus at their house, and that morning they get in, take the students to school at St. Paul, and of course I lived in Lone Oak. I caught the bus there in Lone Oak, and in '59 our house burned, and when our house burned. My mother, she was working in Greenville anyway, at the hospital. When our house burned, she found a house in Greenville, and we moved to Greenville. And my other two sisters, and my brother went to Carver, but me and my oldest sister, Jean, stayed out at Neelanville. And because she was a senior, she was getting ready to graduate, and I liked it out there, so I stayed out there until it was time to go, and till I graduated. And we had a good time at Neelanville.
Yes,
I've heard stories.
I attended Neelanville.
Yes, you did.
Yes, sir, for 3 years. Yes, sir. Did you charge for when Shirley Caesar was at Carver? Was there a fee to get in?
Yeah, that's how we had to pay her. That's how we got a chance
that's
to
what I
pay her.
wondered.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we charged depending on most times the tickets was $10, something like that. And but yeah, we did that. We had to sell the tickets pre-sale, so we'll know if we're gonna have enough money to pay her.
Yeah.
And you did, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Oh yeah,
Yes, sir.
we did.
Okay, as we wind up, y'all have anything else? Superintendent Price, you have given so much to the community. Your time, your money, your effort. You opened the church doors to the community. How do you want us to remember your legacy? How you want it to be written?
Let's see.
You stumped him there with that
Yeah.
one, with the last
Hey,
Your
she
one.
told me
legacy.
it was gonna be that too.
I told you it's gonna be your last, your legacy.
Just say, I would say, just say, the man that loved God, people, and gave his all in all to his commitments.
I will.
That's it.
The man with the great big smile.
Yeah, yeah, don't forget that one.
Okay. Anything for us before we wind up?
That's all. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to give this information, and I'm glad you all used me as one of the people
Uh-huh.
to interview.
Uh-huh.
And I pray that this interview will be a blessing to someone and will help somebody that might be wondering or might be in need of whatever. Because we know the God we serve is able to do anything but fail.
Yes, yes. Thank you so
Amen.
much. Thank
you.
you. I didn't get on the funeral home. John, is it all? Okay. I didn't touch the funeral home song. Did you notice that? Because we got into a whole different subject.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I got my drivers. I got my funeral directors that embalmed my license in,
Uh-huh.
in 1972,
Uh-huh.
and I've been had them ever since.
Uh-huh.
Got them today. Still got them now.
Oh, wow.
Because he did a lot of the funerals.
Yeah.
And today was on ministry and music, so I didn't work it in. Yeah.
Oh, and that would have been great.
It would have been.
'Cause you worked for Miss Grundy, for Grundy's for years, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't know how to work it in today.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
You know, remember last time I told you about how I went to California to try to get my license.
Yeah.
And then couldn't get them there, and came back at Miss Grundy eventually,
Uh-huh.
because Mr. Grundy had already said he was going to send me to school,
Okay.
but he
Start it up.
died,
Uh-huh.
and he died my senior year
In high school.
Wow.
in high school. And she told me, she said, I know he wants to see you so bad and wants you to go. She said, but I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm not able to do that. And I said, okay. And so I kept on trying to go, and didn't get a chance to go. And finally she called me and asked me, was I still interested? I said, yeah. She said, well, just get ready. I'll take care of everything. And she paid the complete price
For you to go to mortician school.
for me to go to March. She said, all I want you to do is learn. And shoot, I did that. My hardest subject there was chemistry. I said, oh God, I am not going to make it through this chemistry. The rest of the stuff was a breeze. And I got ready to go through chemistry, and it was so hard. It was so hard. Anyway, we went on and we got ready for the last test. I said, God, I said, I'm giving it to your hands. And I did what I could on that test. And I made I made a C,
Uh-huh.
and I said, "Look at God." I didn't have to make nothing.
But let's see.
But a C,
Uh-huh.
and I made that
Uh-huh.
C.
And how long did you work for Miss Grundy?
I worked for Miss Grundy until she sold the building.
Oh,
She
okay.
sold it.
Okay.
She had turned everything over to John Harvey Johnson,
Mm-hmm. I remember him.
and John Harvey worked, and when John Harvey died,
Mm-hmm.
he left it to his wife,
Mm-hmm.
and she kept it
Mm-hmm.
for a while, and then she let it go,
Mm-hmm.
and she moved to back to
Terrell.
Terrell.
Mhm.
And then while she was moving, when she moved to Terrell, Miss Grundy sold the building to Keith Cozine,
Mm-hmm.
and Keith ran it for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then that was it. You know, she passed away, and then he bought another building,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where he is now.
Uh-huh.
But it was fun,
Uh-huh.
and it was sad,
Yeah.
but God carried us through it all.
And you end up working with
James Tarver.
uh-huh.
And after they closed that down
Uh-huh.
in 1991, well, he had, to be honest, let me say this now, I'm going to be too free.
That's all right. That's all right. Because we're John working in somehow.
In 1991, I started working for Mr. Tarver.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mr. Tarver told me, he came to me while I was working for Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Johnson hadn't died.
Uh-huh.
And he came to my house one night.
Uh-huh.
And boy, I was really wondering what was going on. And he said, I just want to talk to you. I said, okay. He said, now I noticed, I'm not telling you to quit, walk out, leave Johnson. He said, but you're going to be working for me
Mm-hmm.
pretty soon. I said, what? He said, you're going to be working. He said, just let me know when you get ready. And I said, okay. So anyway, he left, and then Johnson died.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, Mr. Johnson died. I guess I'm going to have to run this funeral.
Uh-huh.
Well, his wife didn't care for me that much. And I think about 2 weeks after he died, she fired me, sent me home.
Mm-hmm.
It was in December.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that done fired me. And I said, Christmas is coming up. And,
Mm-hmm.
oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then I thought, I said, I said, Mr. Tarver and I went down at the funeral home, and I walked the door. I opened the door and walked in. He looked up. He said, when do you want to start?
Oh, wow.
That's all he said. When do you want to start?
Mm-hmm.
And they loved you. They loved you.
And I've been working there ever since.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's my phone.
Yeah, that's yours. You didn't put it on vibrate.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that something? Just as he finished, the phone.
Uh-huh.